Well, joining me now are two junior doctors with very different views. Dr. Adam Dalby says he doesn't support the strike and that the new contract isn't all that bad. And with him is Dr. Rachel Clarke. She's been protesting outside the Department of Health and supports the strike action. So you're being accused of irresponsible behaviour. If something dreadful happens to a patient tomorrow, how are you going to feel?
Every single day when I go to work, I balance risks and benefits of every decision I make. And my decision not to go to work tomorrow is precisely of that order. Difficult things and bad things happen in hospitals every single day because that's the nature of medicine. Were something untoward to happen, the first thing I would want to do is establish the cause. It may or may not be due to juniors not being present. I believe...
But if it is, you're prepared to take that on?
I am prepared to take that on, and the reason is as follows. It's extremely difficult for me to withdraw my labour tomorrow, but that difficulty is offset against the long-term dangers that I believe this contract poses to my patients. And therefore, I am acting in my duty to my doctors by striking, because I feel it's absolutely essential to prevent the imposition of this contract.
Adam Dalby, why do you disagree with that?
Because I feel that this has become a politicised issue. It's become to the point where people are talking about this as though it's about the future of the NHS, when really it's about a contract and a renegotiation. And the contract renegotiation is really the key focus of this. And it shouldn't be the future of the NHS, which is a very important conversation.
So you're saying you don't believe what Rachel just said? Or...
I'm saying that I believe that she'd need to establish causation, and that's very difficult to do, as well she knows. But the BMA will wiggle out of it if something untoward happens because it's difficult to prove causation.
I mean, I would take issue with the language wiggling out. If something untoward happened because I were not in place in my job, then I would take that very, very seriously, and that would be my responsibility, and it would be my duty to accept that and accept the consequences of that. But I think it is a mistake to pretend that we are striking tomorrow over the minutiae of contractual arrangements. The government has sought long and hard to portray this as a pay dispute. This is about overtime on Saturdays, and it's categorically not.
Well, you've been through the contract, and you've written a piece about why you think it's not so bad.
Yes.
I mean, can you persuade Rachel Clarke? Yeah?
It gives a 13.5% pay increase. Yes, it does reduce the banding that we get on Saturdays, but that's been the case in industry for 30 years. And lots of other workers have had to take that kind of cut in their pay. We're having to make the NHS a 7-day service, which is exactly what we should be doing. And we should be supportive of the government's attempt to do this.
So I absolutely would love services to be better on Saturdays and Sundays. But in order to do that, you have to have more than an election manifesto soundbite that is not backed up either by funding or staff, and hasn't been modelled in any shape or form. You're like me, you're a doctor, and so you practice evidence-based medicine.
Yeah.
I expect my politicians, Jeremy Hunt, to practice evidence-based politics. And the fact is, he knows that that soundbite has neither the modelling, the funding, or the staff to safely deliver a 7-day NHS. And in the absence of all of that, it simply means that we, the existing pot of doctors who are already vastly overstretched and frequently, and I can attest to this from personal experience, on my knees in my hospital, we will be stretched more thinly still over 7 days, not 5, and that's not safe for patients. It's manifestly dangerous.
The government has put £10 billion more and is following the Simon Stevens plan into the NHS, which you clearly don't think is enough.
No, it's not that.
Do you think it is?
Well, it's a start, isn't it? I mean, where's the money going to come from to fund our NHS We need a really big conversation with members of the public about what our NHS should and shouldn't be providing. But this is not the arena in which to have that conversation.
Hold on. I mean, the £10 billion is a drop towards the £30 billion deficit that our NHS faces. And you've hit the nail on the head there. You're right, we should be having a conversation about what we can afford. I would propose that perhaps in this age of austerity and with a £30 billion deficit, maybe what we can't afford is the 7-day soundbite in the Tory manifesto.
But Jeremy Hunt has actually backed down on that today. His 7-day service is no longer about elective procedures. There was a bit of manoeuvring on that, I noticed, in his phrasing.
Now, you say that they are politicised. I mean, you mean they're trying to bring down the government in some way? Or
I don't
Jeremy
think they're
Hunt
trying to bring down the government. I don't think they're trying to bring down... Well, they're maybe trying to bring down Jeremy Hunt.
Right.
They have.
Are you politically motivated? I mean, are you a Conservative supporter?
I used to be. I've also been a Liberal Democrat supporter as well. So
it's not about politics.
It's not
for
about
you.
politics for me. I have a fascination with politics, but it's not about politics. It's about having a serious debate about the future of our NHS.
And a last-minute attempt to stop her going on strike?
Please think of your patients. Think of the people who are having operations cancelled. Please think of people who've been in agony for 3, 4, 5 months.
I think of my patients every single day. What I'd really like to be doing right now, it's great having this discussion with you, Adam, but I would like to be having this discussion with a Minister of State, with Jeremy Hunt.
And so would we,
why
as
is
ever
it,
he's not here. So.
Indeed, and why is it that he is too scared to debate these issues with a junior doctor like me? He has a responsibility to the electorate, to all of the patients whose operations are being postponed tomorrow, and he doesn't have the gumption to sit here now and debate these issues with the junior doctor, and I think that's a disgrace.
We must leave it there. Rachel Clarke, Adam Dalby, thank you both very much indeed.